Benjamin Oliver Davis, Sr. was born on July 1, 1877 in Washington, D.C. He attended Washington Public Schools and Howard University. He was commissioned a first lieutenant in the 8th U.S. Volunteer Infantry and served from 1898 to 1899. A year later, after mustering out, he re-enlisted as a private in the 9th Cavalry, later becoming squadron sergeant. Periodic promotions between 1901 and 1930 led to General Davis becoming the first black to attain the rank of general in the United States military since the Reconstruction period. He was actually the first black general in the active regular army, but he was a general who was sensitive to the injustices of a segregated army. In an effort to deal with those injustices, then-President Franklin D. Roosevelt assigned a bright young University of Chicago law graduate, Truman K. Gibson, as civilian aide to the Secretary of War. Mr. Gibson worked quietly and effectively to eliminate many of the issues of racism affecting the 1 million black soldiers serving this country. The general was just as sensitive to the need for relaxation and entertainment for his troops. He recruited his friends to help entertain both the white as well as black GIs at the Hollywood Canteen. Rita Hayworth, Lena Horne, Frank Sinatra, actress Hattie McDaniel, the first black woman to have her own network radio show, were among the black entertainers willing to do their bit at the Hollywood Canteen. Actor Charles Coburn was often at the canteen along with heavyweight champion Joe Louis, who had over 96 exhibition fights. He gave over $100,000 in proceeds to the Army and Navy Relief Fund. Contrary to the media's image, whites were not the only people entertaining troops and selling war bonds at that time. Among his many awards, Brigadier General Benjamin O. Davis, Sr. received medals for service in the Spanish-American War, the Distinguished Service Cross, the Bronze Star, and the French Croix de Guerre and Palm for service in World War II. Numbered among the general's many accomplishments in the military was service with the 10th Cavalry in the Philippine Islands. He served as attaché at the American legation, Monrovia, Liberia. The general also served as commanding general of the 4th Cavalry Brigade from 1941 to 1944. At Wilberforce University in Tuskegee, Alabama, General Davis was professor of military science. President Roosevelt awarded the general with a scroll commemorating his 50 years of service in the U.S. Army. In 1948, the general, after retiring, was appointed as special representative with the rank of Ambassador Extraordinaire and Plenipotentiary to the first centennial of independence, Republic of Liberia. The general died on November 26, 1970, but before his death, he was able to see his son, Benjamin Davis, Jr., become an Air Force general, and to observe him lecturing his beloved Tuskegee fighter pilots. He also had the proud honor of decorating his son with the Distinguished Flying Cross. As a lasting memorial to the military accomplishments of the Army's first black general, the United States Post Office has honored General Benjamin Davis, Sr. with a postal stamp that will soon be available for the world to see. Going forward, backwards, is the way the wife of John Douglas Fauntleroy once described his life. The description was meant to reflect on the fact that her husband became a practicing attorney before he earned his B.S. in political science. John D. Fauntleroy was born on September 6, 1920, in Washington, D.C. After graduation from high school in 1937, he intended to become a printer. But at the time, the printer unions were closed to blacks. So at the age of 16, having passed a written test, John Fauntleroy entered Robert H. Terrell Law School. Fauntleroy received his LLB at the age of 20 in June of 1941. Too young to take the bar, he went to work for the U.S. Office of Dependent Benefits in Newark, New Jersey, the legal division. He was admitted to practice in the District of Columbia in April of 1942. After serving in the Army of World War II, John Fauntleroy established his practice in D.C. One of the many highlights of his civil practice was his successful argument in conjunction with the American Veterans Committee before the U.S. District Court in Miller versus Board of Education. That case resulted in the desegregation of Gallaudet College. In May of 1967, President Lyndon Johnson appointed John Fauntleroy, Associate Judge of the Juvenile Court of the District of Columbia. Judge Fauntleroy holds one of the best records for being upheld by the D.C. Court of Appeals. His many accomplishments established a distinguished 22-year judicial career. In February of 1989, until his death, Judge Fauntleroy served as senior judge in Superior Court. He rests in Arlington National Cemetery.